Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about 3 arcs that I received in the last month or so from NetGalley. And what ties them all together is that, oddly enough, they're all hockey romances. I'm not sure how that happened, but it happened. Maybe with hockey season fast approaching, it was a good time for publishers to let loose with the hockey romances. Now, I am not a huge fan of sports romance, but I'm a huge fan of hockey. So I figured, what the hell? I ended up with 3 hockey romances, and I want to talk to you guys about all 3 of those today. I'll start with the one that I liked the least and end with the one that I liked the most. And the bad one was bad, and the good one was pretty good. So the first one, and the one that I like the least, is Breakaway, and this is by Sophia Henry. This is the story of Brianna Collins, and Luke Daniel. Brianna Collins is a nurse, and Luke Daniels is a former hockey player who had suffered a career-ending injury. And these two meet through mutual friends. But it turns out Luke volunteers on the hospital floor where Brianna Collins works anyways. So, no, I'm not really sure why they didn't meet there. But they meet through mutual friends on a bar crawl kind of night and immediately hit it off. And when I say immediately, I mean immediately. Neither one of these characters are very cemented in their place in life. Brianna has an estranged sort of relationship with her family. She's kind of always been the responsible one, or always been the one that's expected to sort of handle everything and get everybody, to where they need to be and to facilitate other people's personal growth and her family. And so she's doing this traveling nurse sort of thing. She's in this program where she is a nurse, but she's lent out to hospitals around the United States. She's originally from the San Diego area, I believe, and this story takes place in Charlotte, North Carolina. So it's unclear how long Bree will be in North Carolina. Likewise, Luke only recently suffered this injury, and he's not really come to terms yet with the fact that his hockey career is over. So he's sort of in limbo as well. Add to that the fact that he had a junkie mother and no stable home life as a young child. And these two people are sort of a recipe for a disastrous relationship. Now, the synopsis reveals, here's my main problem with the book. The synopsis reveals all of the twists. The twist being that Luke finds out that when he was playing hockey, he actually ended the career of Brianna's brother, who was a hockey player, and that he deals with that poorly through alcohol abuse and stuff. All of that is revealed in the synopsis that I read in order to get the arc. And so when I read the book, there wasn't really anything spectacular about it, and add to that, those things that sort of happen are kind of like side notes. The amount of time we spend dilly-dallying around in this budding relationship is 3 times the amount we spend dealing with the actual conflict. All of it just seemed very wrapped up. Luke goes on a 5-day bender and then he's fine and everybody forgives everybody and whatever, moves on. It was just really faked, forged. And add to that the problems that I had with the characters, which are they were very inconsistent and very unlikable. Like, Brianna's this good girl, responsible person who's a nurse on the floor of a pediatric unit, and yet get her alone in the presence of a guy she doesn't know very well, and she talks like a 16-year-old boy when it comes to the stuff she wants to do and the stuff she wants done to her. And it was all very shocking. Like, I'm no prude, and I don't really expect female heroines or female protagonists to be prudish either, but there was just something very disjointed about who this character was. And I just wasn't her biggest fan. Breakaway by Sophia Henry, it didn't do it for me. Breakaway has already been released. It came out back on September 5th. The second book is Slapshot, and this is by Kelly Jamieson. And this is the story of Max. Now, this is book 5, I believe. I might just be making that up, but no. This is a book 5 that follows a specific hockey team. I, to my knowledge, have never read Kelly Jamieson before, and I know I've never read any of the other books in this hockey team series before. So it was kind of not smart of me to start with book 5. However, it's the kind of romance series that each book can be read as a standalone. The only thing that's going to happen is if you read book 2 before book 1, then book 1 might be a little bit spoiled for you. But they don't end in cliffhangers, and one book is not completely dependent on another. So anyways, book 5, Slapshot, the story of Max. Max is a hockey player who's taken some time off because his wife died. And he's just now getting to a point where he wants to get back in the game. But in order to do so, you know, he's got to go back to training camp. He's got to be put through the paces of all the new guys to see if he stacks up, to see if he is back to playing condition, and so on and so forth. In the midst of gearing up to restart his hockey career, he meets Kendra at a wedding. They also immediately hit it off, and I do mean immediately. But she is the first woman that Max has gotten involved with since the death of his wife. So there is a little bit more of a more emotional depth in this story, and I liked it. It wasn't a swoon-worthy kind of romance. It was okay. It was, you know, a story about a guy who doesn't intend to take anything seriously about a woman, and then the woman falls in love and he doesn't like that, so he pushes her away. That kind of thing. And I'm not a huge fan of that trope. I'm not, you know, I think it's too easy and too stereotypical and too expected. You know, the guy just wants to be a playboy, and the woman, of course, is just carrying around these trunk loads of emotional baggage. No. But other than that, like I said, the characters had a little bit more emotional depth. I liked the way that hockey played into this one. It was a stretch to call Breakaway a hockey romance because the characters were all former hockey players. At least Slapshot is dealing with the element that I do like a lot, which is hockey. You know, the only complaint that I have is that it got a little bit preachy with, like, healthy living. It was, you know, he's trying to get in good shape to get back on his hockey team, and so everything was about what he's going to eat and how he's going to work out, and luckily she eats well too. You know, it was that kind of thing. I felt like, Jesus, ultimately, who cares? You can say that he cared about his body, and about his health, and about being in physical shape in order to play the game. But it did feel like, well, I don't eat that because that is A, B, C, or D. Or I only eat this because it's the only thing that's good for you. So that has nothing at all to do with, you know, a book review. But it did feel like it was too important. Like, it was too important to the author that she get across this message about healthy eating or something. And I'm like, I think it's time for some ice cream. Well, that's Slapshot. It's by Kelly Jamieson, and again, it is due out on October 17th. It's not out yet. The success of this book is due to making me curious about the rest of the books in this series. That's, you know, you do meet some of the other characters that are involved, and it was at this point when they're already broken into couples, it makes you wonder what happened in the other books. And so I am, you know, a little bit curious. I like hockey. The third and final and most liked hockey arc, hockey sports romance featuring hockey advanced reader's copy, is Bad Reputation, and this is by Nicole Edwards. This releases on October 3rd, and it is the story of Chase and Cassie. It is a best friends to lovers trope intermingled with hockey. So Chase is basically the equivalent of an enforcer. He's a jerk on the ice. He spends like forever in a day in the penalty box. He's just not, he's very cocky and very full of himself. And somehow he's managed to maintain a best friendship with a female who is very driven by business, and she's smart and professional and even a little bit, you know, ice queenish. And so this unlikely pair have been best friends since college. What ends up happening is it's the off season. Chase's team, again, it's the off season. Hockey plays very little in this. I don't understand. It's the off season. Chase's team did not make the playoffs, and Cassie's career is on the up and up. She works for a tech giant who sounds a lot like that one fruit company. She is invited to be the keynote speaker at one of these product launching conferences or something in Las Vegas. And since Chase is not playing hockey and he's feeling sorry for himself for not making the playoffs, she says, come on, you should go with me. These two go to Vegas, and you can just imagine what happens. So they end up hooking up. They actually get drunk and get married. Cassie misses her speech that she's supposed to give and completely screws up her career. And the rest of the book is about them doing this back and forth dance of, should we stay together? Should we just be friends? And how in the world is Cassie going to get her life back? Because it's all totally ruined. Now, of these three books, this best friends to lovers thing is the trope that I'm most comfortable with. And also, Nicole Edwards is the author that I have the most experience with. I have read a few of her other books. That said, this was a surprise for me because this is not typical Nicole Edwards, or this is not the Nicole Edwards that I know. I know Nicole Edwards as there's a dog drinking water. The other books that I've read by Nicole Edwards are very boundary pushing for romance novels. They involve a series that has to do with the BDSM club. They revolve around another series that has to do with varying types of relationships. You know, relationships between a woman and two men, relationships between two men, relationships between, like, it's boundary stuff, you know, stuff that a lot of traditional romance readers would scoff at, but it's more bold and more out there and more explicit, and that's what I'm used to from Nicole Edwards. So this was a pleasant surprise. I don't dislike those other books. I've read several of them, but I didn't know that she had this in her bag. You know, I didn't know that she was waiting to whip this out. And again, sports romance, not my favorite thing, but she did it well. And I don't know if this is something that she does a lot that is yet undiscovered by me, or if this is something new for her that she is getting into. But I did like it the best of the three. And it does have more tropes and more romance elements that I'm comfortable with. It's still not completely original, but I'm not sure that romance can be completely original at this point. They all revolve around the same few tropes, and they all, I mean, this has Vegas in it, and you know what happens in Vegas, and you kind of know where this is going, and so it's funny. I really enjoyed both Chase and Cassie. I thought that they were cool characters. I liked them, and that's half the battle when you're dealing with a romance novel, is actually liking the hero and the heroine, because you have to like them together, you know. So if you really like a hero but you can't stand the heroine, it's going to be hard for you to get behind their relationship with each other. You know what I'm saying? All in all, nothing that was amazing out of these three books, and definitely some stuff that was bad out of these three books. But I do got to give it up to Nicole Edwards. I liked hers the best. That one, again, Bad Reputation. It comes out on October 3rd. Slapshot on October 17th. Yes. And Breakaway by Sophia Henry is already out. It came out at the beginning of September. Let me know if you are, let me know if you've read these books or if you're familiar with the authors. Also, let me know how you feel about sports romance. I know there are not a lot of romance readers here on BookTube, but I know that there are some, and I've had great discussions with a few of them. So if you're watching, let me know what you think about sports romance or romance in general. I'm always open to a good debate about why a certain genre is interesting or uninteresting. And again, I got these books from NetGalley, and there's what I can say is an honest review. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon.